Welcome to the Daily Influence, where our mission is to deliver a daily dose of positive influence that can uplift you personally or be shared within your sphere of influence. While not every episode may directly apply to your unique circumstances, we strive to provide insights and inspiration relevant to most people's daily, weekly, and monthly lives. Whether you are tuning in during the morning, noon, or night, the Daily Influence is here for you. Listen, share, and embrace the power of influence in your life. Hey everybody, Brian Smith here with the Iron Team series and the Daily Influence. And today we're going to talk about difficult discussions. We've been kind of focused on this whole new beginnings thing, this start of 2024, this new year, and everything that goes into it. Everybody starts the year off with these ideas of newness and beginnings. And oftentimes we fall back into our old habits of last year, our old habits of previous years, many years, even decades for some people and some organizations. How do you have the difficult conversations that it might take to move us past falling back on old habits? How do we move us as a group, as an individual first, but then as a larger individual, a group of people together? How do we move us forward? How do we have those conversations that look into each other and say, we can't keep doing these same things. We need improvement. And I'm not talking about change. We like to talk about improvement. But oftentimes at this time of year, and all through the year, but especially this time of year, they can be very difficult conversations. One of the advantages we have of New Year and it being a new year and these new beginnings is people have, this mindset of having resolutions and having goals. And I wonder if they really think about those. Do they really sit down, slow down, and have those tough conversations with themselves? And that's really where tough conversations have to start, is with yourself. Look in the mirror, literally look in the mirror. Ask yourself, am I ready for the change or the improvement that I am looking at doing for this year? Am I mentally ready? Am I tactically ready? Do I have strategies, or do I have the things that I need in place, the understanding? Am I ignorant about any part of what I'm trying to do? And how do I fill those gaps? And you're going to have to look in the mirror and really test yourself. Don't be superficial, but test yourself. If you say, yeah, I have time for that, where's that time? Have you allocated that time on your calendar? Have you moved your schedule around? Have you thought about where it will fit in? Is it in the morning? Is it in the afternoon? Is it in the evening? Are you going to need help? Do those people even understand the help that they're going to need? And that takes us to the second set of difficult conversations. It's those people that you might be tapping into that have their own resolutions, their own plans, and maybe it's expected that they're going to support you, but do they actually know what that means? Have you shared with them what the strategy is? Have you shared with them what the influence will be on their lives? Have they allocated that time? Are they even ready for the added effort, the added responsibility, and the potential consequences? That's part of having conversations, and tough conversations is getting people not only up to speed on what can happen that's positive, but could there be consequences? Can we talk about them? Are they individual consequences to each other, or are they globally? And by globally, I mean within your area of influence. Whenever we say global here in our world, we're talking about the worlds we live in. Your business, your vendors, your customers, your team members, your employees, your families. That's your global. So what ripple effects, what intended consequences could we be creating, and are we ready for them? Do we even think about them? Or do we go through life reacting? And that's another set of difficult consequences or difficult conversations, is circling back around and having a conversation about an unintended consequence that we may have created through our own actions or through the actions of other people that we have influenced. How do we take responsibility for that? I just had this happen in our office. We have a team member that works for multiple clients and multiple companies, and they were very upset about having to work on their PTO time. And it was influenced by our client who was trying to meet bonus. And he inadvertently, through his words and actions, the way he communicated, influenced her to compelled her really to want to help. Now, that want to help came out of a positive feeling inside, but it created an awful lot of negativity. And there was a ripple effect to that. We ended up sending that person home, but what happened next was really, really a little bit negative and a little discerning or upsetting, kind of. The leader of one of those clients' companies wanted to blame his employees, when the fact is it was his policies, his procedures, and his actions that caused the stress in the first place. It is what caused his employees to communicate the way they do, to show the emotion that they were showing, to have the frustration they were having. And that leader doesn't recognize that. And it's very common where we make decisions, we create policies and procedures, we do things as leaders, and we really don't understand what that ripple effect is. And the reality is that in this particular instance, it was very one-sided. It had no benefit to anybody except for the business owner who made the decision. The policy that he put in place only benefited himself. And when it went wrong and it created negatives for everybody else, not him, but created negatives for everybody else, his inclination was to blame others, not take responsibility as the leader of the company, the owner of the company, but blame everybody downline from him. I'm going to have that difficult conversation with that business owner this coming week, and it's going to go very simply. I'm going to point out objectively why his policies and procedures led to what happened. I'm also going to show him how blaming others doesn't solve the problem. It made him feel good, but it didn't solve the problem. What solved the problem was sending people home. What solved the problem was getting the people that worked with him together to understand that they did not cause this. That what was happening was a byproduct of things that happened earlier, and how when we make decisions and when we do things, we must think about the unintended consequences. And the way to do that is to have tough conversations, talk about these things early with yourself, with your team, with the people around you. Unpack it, learn it, make decisions with your eyes wide open. And when we know what those consequences are, and they may show up and happen, they're much easier to palate. They're easier to live through, to work through, and to get us to the other side and get positive again. I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. I hope you have a great afternoon.